in. But without further ado, I will pass it on to Nick, and you can introduce yourself and the game.
Hello, I am NickRPGreen. I'm actually a Metal Gear Solid speedrunner, but I also speedrun Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil on the side. I've been speedrunning this game sort of casually for about 10 years, but recently just really started getting back into it and doing it again and submitting it to marathon. So here I am. This is a PlayStation 2 platformer. It's one of the unsung heroes of the PlayStation 2 era. Like, not many people knew about it, and it's an absolutely incredible game. But not many people played it. It hasn't had a sequel. There are a few other games in the series. The first one was remade for the Wii a few years ago. It's not a very good port, but oh well. So we're going to get started. I have to create a new save file, so I thought I'd pick a rather appropriate name for it. So this name is definitely okay. Okay, we just have to get past this sound settings. The game is going to save. Okay, so the time starts as soon as I clear this save complete screen. So we are going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So we have a nice little introduction. Klonoa Works presents Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. I hope you're looking forward to it. All right, now we're into cutscenes, and luckily we can skip cutscenes. We just mash the start button to skip some cutscenes, and we are on our way. This is the first level of the Sea of Tears. Now, the run that I am doing, this is an any percent run, and you might think that by the name any percent, that's probably the sort of bog standard run that you'd expect to see. That's not actually true. The bog standard run that most people do is actually called any percent Popculous. So that little dude there that we've just skipped past, his name is Popka, and you may notice that he's following me around. He's just sort of floating behind Klonoa slightly, and Popka is controlled using the second controller. So if you plug another controller into controller port 2, you have control of Popka as well. So the idea behind Popka's inclusion in the game is, like, if you're playing this and you got a little brother and you could do with a little bit of help and you want them to join in, then they pick up the second controller and they can do that. It's that little jump you saw me do. That is what Popka is used for throughout this run. So every time you see me sort of do a really big jump burst in the air, that's me pushing square on the second controller. So for the entire game, I have a second controller resting on my desk, and I'm holding another controller in my hands. It's quite awkward. It does hurt your hands after a little while, but it's okay. Well, I'm used to it by now. Like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years, so you get used to it after a while. As you can see, I can also use him during this little flight sequence. Not really do anything, but it's doable. The only other thing I have to use the second controller for is at the start of every level, I have to push the start button, because that is what gets Popka to come out. I'm just going to use Popka to skip that little section of jumping, and that's mainly what Popka's used throughout this run. He's used to skip sections, skip jumps, and skip quite a few puzzles as well. And I think overall using Popka saves about 10 minutes, I think, throughout all of the different puzzles and things that we skip. Obviously, a lot of people are put off having to use two controllers, so they only do any percent, but they do any percent Popculous. So that is, exactly the same, but you're not allowed to use Popka. But I like using Popka because he's fun and he's fast. So that's the end of the first level. As you can see, Klonoa's controls are very simple. He moves left and right. He sometimes moves up and down if we go onto a 3D plane, which we will do at times. This game is in 2.5D. The sort of gameplay style that was sort of popularized by Crash Bandicoot. And Then we have the ability to jump. We have like a little flutter or glide ability, which you won't see very often because it's kind of slow. And then he can also fire his wind bullets. And the main mechanic in the game that sort of sets it apart from other games is this idea of grabbing enemies and using them for other means. So whenever you grab an enemy, you can then either jump off of it or you can throw it. And later on in the game, we'll see some more enemies that do slightly different things, both with jumping and throwing. But it's kind of the main mechanic of Klonoa. So here I'm going to grab this moo, I'm going to throw it, and it's going to break that box. So very, very, very simple mechanic, but it's used in some really, really cool ways throughout the game. And as I say, when we start to see more of the enemies come in and the different variations, there are some really, really cool mechanics that come into play. The other nice thing about Klonoa is it has some wonderful music. The music for this level, La Lakusha, is just, it's really peaceful, it's really nice, it fits the setting so well. And it's one of the reasons I fell in love with the game in the first place. So I'm just going to use Popka here to nearly get myself killed. Then back inside the cave. And we've got a little skip coming up here, if I can get it right. So that move's going to run off and jump now. I'm going to jump, grab... I was going to jump and grab that move, but I didn't grab him quickly enough. So I'm going to throw that one and jump. We're going to abuse the 2.5D there. And just completely... That saves about 15 seconds without having to go around the outside. So it's something you're going to see a lot. We're going to abuse the 2.5D so that we can make these sort of really weird skips into the 3D sections. So it's just really peaceful, and then there's a wide array of music in this game. You'll see the first couple of areas of the game have some really, really stark contrasts, and it's really nice. But we'll talk about that a bit more when it happens. Come on, Moo. There we go. A little trick that I'm going to do here. I'm going to wait for this Moo to jump down here. I'm going to throw him. That means he's going to respawn up here, and I can take him into the next room. So just grab him, take him with me into the next room, and I can immediately throw him and break that. I have to time that one nicely so that we break that one as well. And now we can just continue on and finish the level. Now, if you're really into speedruns where there's loads of glitches and tricks and stuff like that, then unfortunately Klonoa 2 isn't really the speedrun for you. For the most part, Klonoa 2 is just about playing the game well, getting through it quickly. But there are a few skips, particularly later on in the later levels. We'll see a few more, and it starts to get a bit more interesting. That's not to say that the start of the game isn't interesting, but if you're really into your skips and tricks and stuff, it gets better as we go along. Okay, we're going to go into our first boss fight. This is the Claremo Temple. We are going to be fighting against Fulgran, the Armored Beast, and these fights are the only part of the game which are random. So every level, as we play through the levels, I missed that. As we play through the levels, everything always happens at the same time. It's preset and everything's fine. The bosses are the only elements of the game that introduce some RNG. And as you can see, Fulgran's not being very nice to me. Oh, this might be a good hit though. Oh, that was nice. So the main thing with Fulgran is where the moves respawn, where they jump in, becomes quite random. And he has this big, massive, glowing weak spot on his butt, which makes it nice and clear where we have to hit. Oh, I threw that move in the wrong direction. So I have to grab this one. And we've got one more hit, and then Fulgrin is defeated. There he is. And there we go, that's Fulgrin. And bosses, this is quite a typical boss. We see this sort of arena design of the boss being in the center and us running around the outside. I know there's a few Sonic games that have similar style bosses, and we're going to see that quite often. Okay, so we are now going to go back to Bagage's Island. So this was actually the second place we went to, but because I was talking, I didn't really talk about what this is. This isn't a level, this is just a cutscene. We're going to come back to Bagage's Island. Basically, every time Klonoa finishes something in the story and then he doesn't know what to do next, he goes back to Bagage for him to explain what's going on. So, you know, going forwards, if I ever say it's back to Bagage, that's probably a good time for messages or donations. So we are now going to go into the next kingdom. This is the kingdom of Joliant, which is the kingdom of joy, the kingdom of happiness and delight and fun. And Joliant is one big theme park. And as a result of that, the music that we're going to get to accompany it is all really cheerful and bouncy and fun. Stark contrast to some of the areas that we're going to see a little bit later. We're now going to go into our first slider levels. This is the other type of level that we get in the game. This one's called the Jungle Slider. And as you can see, Klonoa is now on a surfboard, which Popka stole because he's a little thief. But we do need it to get through. So, you know, we're trying to save the world here. There's got to be a little bit of casualty. We're going to see quite a few of these slider levels. There is a couple of slider bosses as well, so we will have to take on some bosses whilst on this surfboard, skateboard, snowboard. It doubles up as a few different things. Now, when I was a kid, I was about to say when you were a kid. I don't know when you were a kid. When I was a kid and I first got my PlayStation 2. So think back to all you people who had a PlayStation 2 when you were younger and you remember having your PlayStation 2. What did you always get with a PlayStation 2? What did you used to get in the magazines? You know, when you went and bought the official PlayStation magazine, you'd get a demo disc. And this is how I first fell in love with Klonoa 2, because my PlayStation 2 came with a demo disc that included Klonoa 2. It included most of the first level, the Sea of Tears, and it included most of this level. There's just a point in the game where you go through a door, and then the game goes, "Thanks for playing. Buy the game and see the rest of it." And I used to play this constantly. I'd play this over and over again because it was so much fun. But it wasn't actually me who really got into it and really wanted to play the full game. It was actually my mum. My mum's never been much of a gamer. These days, she'll play Candy Crush on her phone and stuff like that. But she's never been much of a gamer. But this was just a game that she really liked, and so she found it in a shop and was like, "Yeah, we played that. Let's play the whole thing." So this is one of the few games that I think my mother has actually completed, and she really enjoyed it. And without her getting into it and enjoying it, I would never have gotten into it and enjoyed it, and I wouldn't be speedrunning it 20 years later. So thanks, Mum. I know she's not watching, but thanks, Mum. Do a little flip for that one. That's cool. Enjoy some more of Klonoa's awesome music. Okay, so we now need to chase down a cat called Tat. Inventive, I know. Tat here. We have already met Tat once. Our main antagonist of this game is a character called Leorina. We don't really know much about Leorina at this point in the game, but this is her sidekick, Tat, also her pilot. Tat flies the plane. And Tat has this ability where she can split off into two halves. So you'll notice that this is a black tat. In a little bit, we're going to see a white tat, and then later on, we're going to see tat back to normal, where she is black and white at the same time. And the reason that we've got to chase tat down in 2 different forms is because she has stolen an element from us. So every time we ring a bell during the cutscenes, which we haven't really looked at, Klonoa is given an element, and when we first arrived in the fun park, Tat stole the element, split off into 2 parts, and ran off into different parts of the fun park. It doesn't matter which level you do; you have the choice of which level you do first. You can either do this level that I'm starting now, the Joliet Fun Park, or you can do the Jungle Slider level first. You get the choice. It doesn't matter which one you go to; the other Tat will always have the element. So we could, if we come here first, we just still had to do the other level. I'm going to skip a tutorial there by just jumping up there. We're going to abuse the 2.5D element here again by just skipping up to here. And we're now going to come across our first puzzle mechanic. And these are switches. They may seem very simple, but they'll start to get a bit more complicated later. But basic premise, hit a switch, it'll open something. Simple. These flying enemies, we grab those and they're going to shoot us, rocket us up into the air. And then we've got these little hover helicopters, where instead of bouncing off of them, we use them like a helicopter. So this is what I was talking about earlier, when I said that we're going to encounter different enemies that do different things. Hit this switch. That's going to pull the bridge down. Tat's going to run away, and Tat thinks she's so clever because she blew up the bridge. But that was actually really helpful. Thanks, Tat. You got us through that bit much quicker by blowing up that bridge. She's a good cat, really. Okay. No theme park. No theme park is complete without a spooky haunted house, which Klonoa doesn't have any problem with whatsoever. His friend Lolo, who is inside his ring, on the other hand, is absolutely terrified. Okay, so these are time switches. We get this little tutorial here. So with time switches, there will be 3 of them. Hit all 3 and the door opens. But if you take too long, then the switch deactivates and you've got to do it again. So I'm going to come across another one in a second. And we can use Popka here to make short work of these. So by completely skipping part of it and not having to sort of reset and things, we can just get over it nice and quickly. We're also going to use Popka here. We'd have to bounce off a move, but because we can use Popka, we can just jump straight into here and just completely ignore the mechanics of the puzzle. You know, normally we'd have to hit that big one, jump off that big one, and do some other stuff to get that puzzle to work. And we've got our first mini boss here. There's a mini boss just in the middle of the level. It's just gonna take some damage whilst I do it. Hit that one, and one more. That's nice and fast. And we're discovering that cutscene that it was Tat all along. Oh, silly cat. Think he could fool us. Oh, got it. Back into the park. So gonna use Popka to jump over these. If we didn't have Popka, we'd just have to sort of hover over the top of them, but just use Popka to jump a bit higher. Don't try this at home, kids. Don't go to your local theme park and run across the lines of the roller coaster. It's very, very dangerous. Do not recommend. Okay, now, once again, we're going to have to catch Tat. Come here, Tat. It's going to put up a good fight. Or not. And that is Juliant Fun Park. Okay, we are now going into the second boss fight. This is... Thematically, this is my favourite boss because it's very funny and very silly. Mechanically, this is my least favourite boss. He is a pain in the butt. It's so annoying. But this is Leptio the Flower Clown. So he's going to split off. This one's the real one because he was the only one that was spinning. You can see he's the only one spinning. And now I have to make sure that I follow him and hit. If he slows down at any point during this fight, he can stop and we have to redo that first bit again. So it's really important that I keep hitting him and that he doesn't stop. And we're good. Good first section. He has some amazing noises. Oi, yo, yo, yo! Okay, we're going to stand near him so that he does this spinning attack. Oh, and the moves have spawned all the way on the other side. We're going to wait for... Oh, he's going to do his big jumping attack. That takes ages. Oh, I missed him. Okay, we'll bump him back in there. And then we just need to... Basically, we're just going to throw a move at him, make him roll in the opposite direction, and then hit him on the other side. I'm going to try and get close to this move so I can grab it straight away. And throw. Oh, I threw that just a little too early. That one should be fine. So the biggest annoyance with Leptio is that if anything goes wrong, it can waste an awful lot of time. But this hasn't been too bad, to be honest. And there we go. That's Leptio the Flower Clown. Do a little bit of cheering at the end there. So now that we have defeated Leptio, Klonoa can go and ring the bell in Juliant. And that is his journey throughout this game. We're visiting all of the different kingdoms, ringing the bells, gathering the elements, and saving the world from sadness. The whole world is a bit sad at the moment, so we're going to try and save it. So it's back to Bagaji. So Sleepless, if you've got any messages or donations, now's a pretty good time.
Nothing new right now, but I would like to point out that we have a bid war going on for the stream background between night mode and day mode. So if you'd like to see the beach in day mode, be sure to donate to that. And on the topic of beaches, we have a transistor run coming up with a donation incentive to chill on the beach. So if you want to see that, be sure to donate. All goes to a good cause.
Awesome. Okay, so we are now going into the next kingdom. This is Volk. Volk is the kingdom of war. So a very, very stark contrast to where we've just been. When we went into that little cutscene, we discovered that Liarina has built some machine around the bell, and she's trying to create her own dream ring, which is the thing that Klonoa is using to fire. So in order to stop the machine, we are going to go to the two generators housed in two areas of the city, and we're going to switch those generators off. That's going to power down the machine, and then we'll be able to get to the bell and ring it. The first is in City Hall, so we have to travel through Volk City. And as you can hear, I was talking about the music. And we have this really nice jazzy number for this, so a very stark contrast to the really sort of pomp and circumstance of Juliant. And as we get outside, you'll hear that music pick up more, and you hear more of it. Popka to get past some of these enemies. We don't have to worry about them. Sometimes it's nice just to use Popka just to even if it's not actually making a skip or anything, just to save ourselves and, you know, not worry too much about what's going on around us. We've got a super bounce pad here. See a lot more of those throughout the game. There is a slight delay when you bounce off of a moo when you do that double jump. So at times it's better to use Popka rather than doing a double jump. It's just a little bit quicker to get across. We're going to come across a new enemy here. This is an enemy which, when you jump up, he jumps up with a big electrical burst. We're going to skip him for this one, because we can just use Popka to get up there a bit quicker. Again, we're going to skip it here, because we can just use Popka to get up there a bit quicker. Got another one here which we do need. Let's make sure we don't lose this one. And we're going to go back out into the city. Grab this herbal. There we go, back out into the city. Use Popka now just to get over that little ledge. And in this section coming up, we're pretty much trying to use Popka as much as possible to stop Klonoa from stopping. So any time where Klonoa would have to wait for something, we can jump across there a bit quicker. We don't want to have to wait for Klonoa to go all the way down to that jump pad, so we can just use Popka to keep going, and we've got enough air time to get over these big gaps. You may have noticed that Klonoa has a couple of taunts that we can use at any time, so I hope you like that noise of duppa duppa duppa, because it's going to happen a lot. And we don't want to have to go all the way down to that little tornado. We can just skip all of this. Again, skip all that. Oh, we're going to have to do a little flutter at the end there, just to make sure that we don't die. And we're through that section. Now back into the back across the rooftops over here. As I said earlier, Jolian is the city of war. As you can see, there is a very big war going on, and the thing is that the citizens of Jolian don't really know why. They don't know why they're fighting. They're just constantly fighting and at war with each other. It's just what they do. I'm sure there's some real world parallel there, but this probably isn't a good time to get political. Alright, we're going to fly up to here. So we're coming up to the end of the level. We just need to land on top of a train. I mean, currently night and day are at war with this really awesome background bid war. Come on, Day, you can do it. Break back. Right, so we've switched off the machine at City Hall. We now need to go into the underground factory. This is where all of the weapons are made. And the underground factory is kind of the first level where we really start to see some tricks and skips and things come into play. Some of these I only learned this year as well. So there's some really fun things coming up. So first of all, we can skip these a few of these long elevators. So that platform there, we'd have to sit on that platform and wait for it to go across. Now we can just skip past those. There's an interesting little route decision that we make here. We can hit that big moo. Oh, wait for it. grab this little one and use Popka so that we can keep hold of this moo. That means that when the giant worms come out, we've already got one to throw at the second one. That saves a lot of time. Otherwise, you'd have to wait for more moos to spawn and keep throwing more moos at them. We're introduced to keys in this level. Keys, very simple. Gonna just play it safe and grab that checkpoint. These are boomies. As you can tell, you throw a boomie and it explodes. We're going to reuse this boomie here. Oh, that's a bit too slow. And there's quite a big skip coming up here. What we're going to do is we're going to use this boomie to keep Klonoa in the air for as long as possible. And that's going to despawn this door. That should be a door. I should have had to go over and grab a key from the other side of the room. But for some reason, by Klonoa never landing on the floor as we approach it, the door despawns, and that saves quite a bit of time. There's a very specific trick here to get this boomie. Oh, that was bad. So there's a very specific trick you can do here to blow up the boulder on the other side here in a very precise manner. Unfortunately, it is very, very precise. I don't think I've ever actually got it into a run. I have managed it in practice, but it is very, very tricky to get off. There is one that happens in a later level, which is a bit easier, so we might see it. I'm gonna grab a checkpoint just to be on the safe side. We're gonna wait for these platforms anyway, so sometimes it's just a bit safer. Okay. Now we need to get through these boxes. There's no other way around this. It's a bit slow, but we're through. And we're now going into one of the first auto scroller sections. There's nothing really to do here. We just have to sit on this platform and dodge these steam vents. Luckily there's only 2 major instances of this. This one's quite short. The other one is a bit longer. It's just one of the points in the game where you can't really do a lot. You just have to sit there and wait for the platform to move. We'll grab that extra life. There is a trick coming up later, about halfway through the run, where there's quite a precise couple of jumps you have to do, and it's not uncommon not to get it right on the first try. So having as many lives as possible is helpful. Luckily, there's a checkpoint right before it, so if I do fail it, then I can just I take a death, retry. Luckily, you could try like 4 or 5 times, and it's still quicker than not doing it. It saves that much time. Got this little mini boss here. Again, this is all random. This isn't going too badly. That's it. That wasn't too bad. I've definitely done faster, but I've definitely done a lot slower at that fight. So again, Tat was just trying to get in the way, trying to be annoying. Trying to stop us from switching off the power. Now, I already said that we really don't like these moving platforms because they're slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to completely ignore this one. Just not even bother with it. Just leave it behind. There we go. Now in this room I have to be very careful. I have to make sure that I hit every single platform, because if I don't hit every single platform, that cannon that I've just fired out sometimes doesn't spawn. And you're just sort of stuck in the room not doing anything until you go back and get it to spawn. It can be very, very annoying when it happens, but it seems that just by making sure you touch every platform on the way up, you play it safe. You definitely spawn it, and it definitely appears, and you can continue. Because if it doesn't spawn, there's nothing you can do. You can't go any further. You just sat there waiting for it. I've spent many a run just wandering backwards and forwards through that room, waiting and waiting and waiting. But we're coming to the end of this level now. The level decides, rather than throwing you right at the end exit, it's just going to give you one more little jump to do. But we are now through. Going to go and turn off the power to the generator in here. We can now go back to the town hall, and we can go and ring that bell and grab the next element. But what's happened every time we've tried to get to a bell so far? There's been a boss battle. We do have a boss battle to get through here. This is probably my favourite boss battle. This one doesn't really have any RNG in it, so it usually goes very well. This is the mobile tank Biscash. This is like the city security robot. We're just going to keep jumping over it and throwing these flying moves down it as we fly over the top. In a rather rhythmic fashion. One more, and then we're through into phase 2. Very nice phase 1. Phase 2, he's going to go over there. He's going to start rolling towards us. See the same again. Bounce one more off of him. He's going to go over there again, and one more hit and we're done. Bounce up. Throw moo. Done. That was pretty good. That boss can be done faster. There is a very they're almost frame perfect. It's very tricky, and it's just not worth doing in a run. If you try and do it in a run and it goes wrong, then it's going to screw you over big time. Okay, so as you can see, we're now going back to Vulcan City, except now it's called Vulcan Inferno. One of the other things that Klonoa does, and it does do it very well, is it recycles content. It recycles levels that we've already done, but it gives them a bit of a twist and a bit of a spin. So this is the same level layout as Vulcan City that we went through earlier, but with a few key differences. So you'll already start to see that there are some things changing. These floors have been set on fire. And it's a blue fire, so you know it's really hot. So we now just have to sit and wait to go down here. And the game does this a few times. The very first level we did, which was the Sea of Tears, that level we are going to revisit. The very second level we did, which was La Lakusha, that's a level we're going to revisit. And there's a couple of other levels where we do revisit them, but they do vary quite a bit. Use Popka to get over that little gap there. And again, this is another really good example of how well the music, it really gives you that sort of sense of urgency. Basically what's happened is that because the power is now off, we successfully stopped Leorina's machine, but because the power is now off, there's going to be a meltdown at the factory. And we need to quickly get back and turn some of the power back on to prevent that from happening. But an old friend is going to try and stop us. We thought we destroyed the mobile tank Biscash, but no, it's back and it's angry. But this section, the tank moves at a constant rate. It's always at the same speed, and the developers didn't really expect you to be able to get through here quite as quickly as you should when you're using Popka. So it never poses a threat to us at all. We get far ahead of it without it ever really getting in our way. Oh. Have to bounce that one. Made a little bit of a mess of those jumps, but we're safely away back into the underground section. As you can see, I made a little bit of a mess of that bit. That did not go very well. Oh! And that's death number 1. Whoops. That was unfortunate. You know, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm just gonna wait this time. You can get through here without having to wait for this platform. You just have to take a few hits. But I did not do a very good job of it. And I'd rather not make that mistake again. There we go. The run is very long. I am to this day yet to have a run with zero unintentional deaths. There is a section. There's a level later on where we do take 3 deaths intentionally. But outside of those deaths, I've not actually completed a run yet where I haven't had a single unintentional death, which is unfortunate. But one day it'll happen. Unfortunately, today's not that day. Okay, we're just going to use Popka to get as far away from the tank as possible. Bouncing up here. Skipping a load of these jump pads. And here's our sort of first clue that the devs didn't really expect you to get this far ahead. So right now we should be seeing the tank jumping behind us and getting into position. And there's a bit of fire here on that platform. That's because the tank should already be there burning that platform before we reach it. But we're just like, nah, we're too fast for fire. Take a little flutter at the end there. Bounce. Bounce. One bounce. I think I'm over enough. Yep. All good. And back inside to safety. And straight back outside to danger. Try and grab that. Hey, grab that knife. Just gonna wait so I don't jump on that bounce pad. Bounce pads are slow. We want to avoid them if we can. Oh, took a bit more damage than I'd have liked to there. It should be alright. Right. Okay, I'm just gotta be careful here. Normally I just run through here and just take the hit, but I only have 1 health left, so I had to be a little bit safer there. We're at the end of the level now. So we're going to do the same jump up as we did in the first instance of this. But we don't have to try and land on the train. This time a cutscene will play, which we're obviously going to skip, where the train comes along in one direction, the tank comes along in the other direction, and they crash into each other. Luckily, Klonoa was quite nimble and he just drops himself below the tracks and just holds on for dear life. He's quite a nimble little fellow. But that's Volk. We're finished with Volk, and we now need to go back to Bagaji. So Sleepless, if you got anything, take it away.
Yep, we've had a donation from Mogmeister for £30 saying good luck runners. This went towards the donation incentive for Link's Awakening DX, bonus any % ACE run, and also towards night mode on the stream theme.
Nice.
We also have another poll for Porsche Challenge, which is in a couple of runs from now, for picking the car colour. There's 5 to choose from. Currently, green is in the lead for £75. And then blue and purple both have £10 each. So if you want to choose an objectively better car colour, then be sure to donate to that.
Thank you very much. Oh, missed that one. So this is Ishra's Arc. This is the first really big, long, puzzle-heavy level. We have to go and switch on 3 engines, And this level also has the biggest skip in the game. So I said earlier that I've been holding on to some lives so that if there's a skip that's coming up, where I can redo it over and over again. This is that level. So when this goes right, this skip saves just under, it's about four minutes, I would say, which doesn't sound significant, but it is the longest. It is probably the biggest skip in the game. So we are introduced to these new enemies called Laquaris, that yellow one that you just saw me use. These are a really, really interesting puzzle mechanic. What these Laquaris do is every time they hit an enemy, they change color. So there, it changes to yellow. You hit that one, it changes to blue, and that allows us to get us through this blue door. If I did it one more time, it would turn red. There are some red doors. And this provides, as I say, a really interesting mechanic. Oh, I didn't quite get that jump right. That's a very, very tight jump to get right. So I'm going to use it again here. I'm going to bounce it off that one. It'll turn yellow. Hit that one. It turns blue. Bounce it off that one. It turns red. And we can get through the red door. That looked very simple, but later on it becomes a bit more complicated. So here's our big skip. Unfortunately, I messed it up. What we're trying to do is we are trying to grab this Moo and bring him over to this ledge. There we go. That's it. Second try. Second try is not bad. That's going to allow us to use Popka to jump up and hit this switch. So we shouldn't normally be able to get here. What we would have had to do, we've got a key. That key would have got us through a door back in the previous room. We'd have then gone and powered up the engine and then come back here. The little platform that I was on would be spinning. That would allow me to get up on top and then hit that switch normally. But by doing that, we've completely skipped that engine. And as I say, that saves about four minutes. And second try is not bad actually. I have done it in one before, but I'm quite happy with two. I've had some runs where it's taken 6 or 7, so two I will take. I'm going to go and grab this key. You might be thinking, but Nick, you've already got a key. Unfortunately, each key is coded to its own door, so we can't use the key that we've held on to get through the next door. So we did have to go and grab the key. So these are what the engines look like. So we skipped the first one. We've come straight through into the second one. And all we've got to do is we've got to throw a red Laquari into the middle of it to power it up. So we have to find a Laquari. And there's one just here. Turn it red. Let's throw at that enemy. Oh, throw that one, and then just throw it into here. Lovely. And that's the engine powered, and then we need to hit the switch to switch it on. I hope you like this level. I hope you like the design and the music and all of that, because this is the one level that we are going to come back to later on. We are going to revisit the Ark. And the second version of this level, the Ark Revisited, is the longest level in the game. Hopefully that's hit. I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to throw that Moo all the way over there. Get it to hit that one. We don't have to get it to hit that one that was flying over the top there, because that one's a bit annoying. And over there, that's quite a scary jump. If you get that wrong, you have a long way to go back. I've unfortunately messed this bit up, but I wasn't supposed to. Oh, what have I done? There we go. I wasn't supposed to bring the lift down. Momentary lapse in concentration. All right, so onwards on to engine number 3. This is going to work exactly the same way. So we've got to go and find a key, and then use the key to get through that door there. So we've got a bit of backtracking to do in this one. We kind of have to go through the same section twice. but it will be slightly different. Not gonna grab the checkpoint there. I don't really need it for this bit, as long as I don't mess up any of these jumps. We're good. So there's the switch. You can already see the switch that we're trying to reach. Unfortunately, there's just no way of getting to it early. If we could get to that switch early, then we'd get to the end of the level much quicker. But unfortunately, there's just even with Popka, there's just no way of getting to that switch quicker. So instead, we are going to have to do this normally. So we have to go back through again, as we've just done, and into the engine room. And just like Engine 2, we're going to find a Laquari, we're going to throw it at 3 enemies, and then we're going to throw it into the heart of the Engine 2 to power it up. So there's our Laquari. And sorted. And now you can see that the little elevator there is now rotating, so that's going to allow us to get up onto the switch. And that'll be the end of this level. And after a really long, puzzle-heavy level, the game does a really good job of keeping some variety, sort of giving you a bit of a break. We're going to go into what is easily one of the best levels in the entire game. And I only say that because it's a slider level with the best music track ever. It's great. I love it. You're going to love it too. You don't get a choice. You will love it. So up onto here. Again, we usually have to like grab a moo, but we can just use Popka to jump up there. And that's the end of the level. Ishra's Ark is now on its way, and it is going to take us over to the next kingdom. So the next kingdom is the Mountains of Mirror Mirror. And the Ark is going to deposit us at the very top of the mountain. So we're going to have to get to the bottom of the mountain. And of course, the easiest way to get down a mountain is to snowboard down it. And you can't snowboard without an epic tune. So I'm going to shut up and you can just enjoy. This is the Wahoo Stomp. The only sad thing about this level is that because we speedrun it, we get it through very quickly, and we don't get to hear the whole song. There's still another like minute and a half of song. Yeah, that's there's not really much to say about that level anyway. It's just a standard slide level, so it's just nice just to sit back and chill out, listen to the song, because it's awesome. All right, so we're going to go head into Mirror Mirror itself, and this is the Maze of Memories. This is another very puzzle-heavy level, and it's a stark contrast music-wise as well. It's got a lovely piece of music as this one. As you can see, it's very MC Escher inspired. And the idea is that the inhabitants here get lost in the mirrors. Lots of mirrors and lots of wonderful, magical things to look at, and they lose themselves, and they kind of spend their lives wondering what if and other things. I'm not really sure how to explain it best, but we're just going to run through it as quickly as we can. We've got a little skip coming up in a second, which can be a little bit dangerous. My Amazon Echo says that she doesn't know that one. I don't know why. I didn't ask. She does that sometimes. Don't know why. I'm going to grab this checkpoint just to be on the safe side, because I can die here if I don't get this right. Oh, but that was nice. So we should be like going up and around the outside to kill that monster, but instead we just take a hit and just sort of damage abuse through it. This is a really cool trick here. For some reason, this wall here doesn't really exist properly, so we can just throw that Laquari through to that boomy. I don't know why that trick works, but it saves time trying to deal with that puzzle. And again, that's another one that I only learned about this year. It's a really dumb trick, and I don't know why it works. But it's really good. We're now going to go into a section which is very agility heavy. We don't have many agility based rooms in the game, but this is one of them. Oh. And it's all about just keeping your momentum going as much as possible, using Popka when it's necessary. And that was actually really good. That was very fast. It's very easy to lose your momentum, or miss. If you miss just grabbing one moo in that room, you can fall. You can fall a fair distance as well. So that was really good. The last marathon I did, I actually died in that room and had to quite a big backtrack, because you don't grab the checkpoint at the very start of that room. So we're going to grab that checkpoint just to make sure. We've got another nice little puzzle room here. Luckily, we can use Popka to skip a little bit here. So we're going to grab this boomy. We're going to take this boomy into the Electro's room. We're going to throw it, and then we're going to leave. Because when you leave a boomy that's already been armed, it automatically explodes. So that's going back in and out is quicker than waiting for that boomy to explode. We're going to take the Electro enemy over to the Laquari so that we can grab it. Now, normally we'd have to go back and grab the boomy because we can't get to it, but because we've got Popka, we can get to it. So we're going to throw that Laquari there. Just going to wait. If you've got a Laquari that's on its way back to you and you leave the room, the Laquari disappears. Just throw there. Wait for the Laquari to come back through the room, and done. And using Popka to skip the boomy section of that saves a good 10 to 15 seconds. It's a nice little save. That's the Maze of Memories. I really like that level. That's one of my favorite levels, just because the design of it is so funky and weird and wonderful. It's very good. Okay, next is we've got another boss fight, and this is our first slider boss. So we are going to fight this boss whilst riding on our slider boards. This is Indecision Pass, and we're going to be fighting Polonte the Hatchling. So here he is. He's a big egg. And the first phase of this is quite long. We're going to go down this corridor several times. We're going to not get hit. That was lucky that I managed to dodge between those. If you take a hit here, you slow down. So you'll see every time that we go through one of these pickups, Klonoa speeds up. If we take a hit, then he'll slow down to the previous speed. So we don't want to take any hits. We just want to get through nice and quickly. We've got to do this 3 times. And then the second phase is where the real skill for this boss comes from. The same thing's going to happen, but when we reach him, instead of smashing into him, he's going to spawn a bunch of surfing moves. They're going to surf towards us, and I need to grab each one and throw them back at him. If I can grab every single move and throw it back, we'll kill him in 1 rotation. But if I miss a move at all, we will have to do a second rotation of this, because there are only enough moves to do exactly enough damage to him. It's a bit random as to when the moves come out. The first one's always the same, but the second lot can be that. Oh, it gave me a really nice sequence there. Oh, that was really easy. The game was very, very generous with that second set of moves coming towards me. They can be like, if they're on completely different sides of the road, they can come at different speeds. But yeah, it was really generous, and it gave me that on a plate. I would kill to have that kind of randomness in every run. All right, once again, we don't know we don't know what to do. Basically, we got to the bell here, and Liarina was here before us. And she rang the bell, and she got an element, and we don't know why, because only priestesses should be able to ring the bell. And Lolo, our companion, who lives in the ring, she's a priestess, and she's always been able to ring the bells and get them. So we don't know why Liarina was able to ring the bell. So we've got to go back to the temple and talk to the priestesses at the temple and find out why Liarina was able to ring the bell. So that means we've got to go through Lalakusha again. But now it is Noxious Lalakusha. And as you can see, everything has gone a bit dark and taken a turn for the worse. It's all dark and mysterious. Liarina has an ill heart. She's ill-willed to wield the power of ringing the bells, and as such, the world does not like the fact that she has rang the bell, and so everything's a bit dark and spooky. That was a nice little grabbing that bee. As we go inside, this whole area basically becomes... We're basically fighting for oxygen. It's like there's a poisonous gas in here, and Klonoa does not like the poisonous gas. But as you can see, things are slightly different from the first time we ran through this level. I actually did a little skip at the start there. I managed to avoid a block spawning so we could get through. It just happens very quickly. Back outside, luckily we don't have any worries here about any gas. Outside we're fine. It's just inside. Gonna grab that moo. I'm gonna attempt to skip here. It's very, very tight to get right, and I've missed it once, so I'm not going to, because it'll just waste more time trying to do it now. As you can see over on the other side, there's another checkpoint clock. A very, very precise throw. You can throw an enemy over to that clock. So it's this clock here that we're just about to hit now. You can throw an enemy and hit that clock, and then what you do from there is go back outside, kill yourself, and then Oh, whoops. I was not supposed to do that. I was supposed to grab that enemy, throw him, so that we don't get hit by that. So yeah, we'd then go outside, kill ourselves, and then we'd respawn at that clock. Unfortunately, it's very, very finicky. It's only worth trying it once. And if you don't get it right first time, just carry on. Which sadly is what I had to do. Back inside again. Just like first time, we're going to abuse the 2.5D. I need to move over there to make sure that these enemies spawn, because otherwise that moo won't spawn. Drop down here. And we've got to swing the pendulum that we swung the first time we came through. And there's a very tight window where we can swing it and make it hit this block. Hoping I got it right. If I hit it again, that will speed it up. Hopefully that's enough. It's not. The angle's just not quite right. I'm going to have to go all the way around. It is a very, very tight window for where to throw it. It's not the easiest trick in the world. But just like the first time we came through, we are now at the end of the level. And we now have a really, really long set of cutscenes. Luckily, we can skip them all. There are now 5 cutscenes that play out basically to tell us that Leorina was once a priestess in training, and that is why Leorina is able to ring the bells. 5 cutscenes to tell us that. And she's on her way back to the very first bell that we rang in the game at the Sea of Tears. We need to try and get there before she does, otherwise utter catastrophe will befall the land of Lunatea. So we're going to have to make our way very, very quickly back through the Sea of Tears before she can get to the bell. And because everything's dark, everything's all dark and spooky, and it's all very dark, and the world has gone dark, and Leorina's heart is dark, and our journey looks dark at this point. Oh, whoops. Wrong start button. This level's just now called the Dark Sea of Tears. It's very inventive. It's so dark. You'd think they were from the DC universe. That's a terrible Deadpool reference. I apologize. And we've got another skip coming up here. And I have noticed that a certain someone has made his presence known in the chat. Hello to Axel Sango. This next skip, this is the first skip that a community member ever taught me whilst I was streaming. That community member was Axel Sango, and he taught me this skip. And I hope I get it right. I haven't got it right. This is quite a tight one. It can be quite tricky. So it usually takes me a couple of attempts. I'm doing it. I'm getting the order of it wrong. I'm bouncing off the move first, right? There we go, and that's the skip. That saves a good couple of minutes. Phew. When we were here before, we flew onto the back of a giant eagle and flew across the level. Unfortunately, those eagles are gone now. So I hope you like boats, because we're going to go on a boat instead. Shout out to boats.
hello, welcome back. Sorry about that. We had a internet disconnection, but we're back now. So we're ready to continue whenever you are.
Cool. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Carry on. Yeah, I do apologize for that. That was my internet just decided my computer just decided to disconnect from the internet momentarily. So but at least it was a nice quick fix and we can carry on. All right, so we're through the Dark Sea of Tears. And we can now head into the empty Sea of Tears. So one thing that's when we got to the next bell, unfortunately, Leorina got to that bell first, and as a result, she rang the bell. She got herself another dark element, and she drained the Sea of Tears. The Sea of Tears is now empty, and we now have to travel through this sandy, weird, underwater but there's no water area. And I like the music in this level. It's got Klonoa's theme in it. This little motif that you're hearing right now is part of Klonoa's own theme. And this is the music kind of gives us that sense of, okay, things are really starting to go wrong now. It's now time to pick up the pace, and we need a hero to save us. So, you know, get a move on, Klonoa. And there's not again, just like the other slider levels. There's not really a lot to them. There's no skips or nothing overly clever or anything about them. It's just about getting through them quickly without dying. So if you've got any messages or donations or anything you want to read out, now's a really good time for it.
Yep, sure. We have had a £2 donation from Distributive, and this went towards the purple car colour for Porsche Challenge. So currently the standings are green at £75, purple at 12, blue at 10, and red and silver at none. So for a better car colour, be sure to donate to that. We'll put a link in chat. So
green, go for green. I'm not biased in any way, but go for green.
Yes, aside from that, you can also donate to change the stream background from night mode to day mode. Sadly, you can't vote for both car colour and stream theme. And we also have a donation incentive for Transistor that will be in a few runs from now. So, all great targets to aim for.
Right, so we've entered the final room of this level. Now, so before I hand it over there, that the slider levels, there aren't really much to them. They are quite simple and relatively easy. The same cannot be said for the last slider level, which is going to come up in a couple of levels time, and that level really does kind of ask you the question, you know, when you were playing those slider levels before and you were having fun and you're listening to all the cool music, I hope you were paying attention and actually playing well, because you're going to need to use those skills. The final slider level can be very brutal. There's a lot of very, very tight corridors and narrow passageways. As you can see, we're going back over to Ishra's Ark. We're gonna have to stop Ishra's Ark. Before we can do that, we've got another boss fight to do. We are going to be fighting Leorina for the first time. And you may have seen Leorina throughout the run already, in the slight little glimpses of her during cutscenes. You know, she's the same average height as Klonoa, and you know, sort of humanoid. In fact, there she is, right there. And now here she is again. Yes, this is Leorina again. For some reason, Leorina, the dark magic inside, it's all about everything being dark. The dark magic inside her has taken its toll and has cursed her to become this giant monster. So we have to fight Cursley Arena. Again, this boss fight can be a bit random. Oh, only one health here. I need another electro. There he is. Grab that. Wait for it to jump over. Hit her. Oh, that's the end of phase 1, thankfully. So now we're going to go into phase 2, where she's going to go round and round the bottom in circles. We just have to bop her down here. And the moves are being very nice. So there's another area where the moves... Oh, that's a bit further away. Hopefully I can get there in time. Yeah, good. And now we're going to go into phase 3, which is the same as phase 1, but she's a little bit more aggressive. And on the theme of things being, things being more evil when they're dark, she turns black to let us know that she's now even more evil than she already was. Oh, no! Just missed that hit there. So we just have to redo phase 2, unfortunately. It's a little bit of a time loss. That's unfortunately that's what happens when you mess up the earlier phases and take all of those hits. Okay, luckily we got through phase 2 again quite swiftly. And we've got full health now going into phase 3, so it shouldn't have the same issue. Right, come on, spawn. There it is. Oh, no, I was a bit too hasty there. As you can see, she's a lot more aggressive in phase 3. Luckily, I only have to hit her twice. Oh, the electro spawned on the other side of her, and yeah. It's the boss fights that really provide the biggest RNG. Oh no, not again! Oh, I do apologise. This is I'm making a real mess of this fight. The RNG isn't being particularly nice, but I'm also not doing very well at all. I'm not going to be able to throw that in time. There we go. Right, come on. Wait for it to spawn. Where are they? There's one. Alright, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to wait for her to jump on me. Hit her as she comes down. It's a little bit safer than trying to get the quick hit. That should. Oh, I wasn't quite quick enough. Come on. And there we go. That is Cursley Arena. Oh, that's Cursley Arena really badly. So that's, yeah, that's going to slow this down a little bit. But Lee Arena now has a bit of a change of heart. She understands that what she's been doing is wrong. And she's sorry. So she's gonna go off and have a good hard think about what she's done. Alright, so like I said earlier, I hope you liked Ishra's arc, because we are going back to it. This is Ishra's arc revisited. This is the longest level in the game. Because we do have to visit all 3 engines. However, there is a very, very tricky skip in this level. And we're going to attempt this trick 3 times. And this is the one level where we are going to kill ourselves deliberately. So we have to go to the 3 engine rooms. And the first time we went through this level, we had to throw a fully charged Laquari into the engine. This time we're going to throw a boomy into the engine to make the engine explode instead. And what we can do is, there is a checkpoint just as the boomy explodes. There's a checkpoint just as the boomy explodes. And there is a very short window where the boomy explodes. The game registers that you've thrown the boomy inside. And then the game triggers the checkpoint. So what we can do is, if we time it right, So I'm going to take another. I'm going to take a hit from this boomy deliberately, so I'm only on 1 health. Oh. I can't grab it again. Oh. I can, but I'm going to die. Right. Let's get rid of those. Try this again. What I want to do is I want to take a hit and... There we go. So hopefully, if I've timed that right, we respawn back at the previous checkpoint. So the game has registered that a boomy has been thrown into the engine and the engine is going to explode. So it triggers the engine explosion sequence. But it hasn't hit the next checkpoint yet. And as a result... Oh, I've made a mess of that. There we go. So as a result of the game not registering the checkpoint but registering the boomy explosion, we skip back to the previous checkpoint, which was outside where we need to go to. Because once we've thrown the boomy in, oh, I think I need to concentrate a bit more. I'm gonna play this one safe and just stand here. There we go. It's a bit slower, but it means we don't die. Okay, we're good now. We're through that tricky bit. So I think I've explained the trick enough now. But we're gonna try this 3 times. So each engine, we're gonna get a checkpoint that's outside. We're gonna take a death just after we've thrown the boomy inside, and hopefully that will send us back to the previous checkpoint. If we're like half a second too late on throwing the boomy, on taking the death after we've thrown the boomy, then instead we will just respawn there on the spot and we will have to run outside. It's the time frame for doing it is very, very tight. It is not easy at all. To this day, I've only ever got all 3 right in 1 run, and that happened to me in my last marathon run. I was very, very excited, but it is. I've done 2 out of 3 quite a few times, so 2 out of 3 is usually what I consider good. This is the second engine. This one's the trickiest because we've got quite a distance to go to take that hit. So I'm gonna take 2 hits from this boomy. We're gonna go over here, throw it and take the hit. I think I was too slow, and I was too slow. So as you can see, the engine destruction sequence has started, but because I was just slightly too slow taking that hit, I should have waited for the spiky enemy to be at the top, so I didn't have as far to fall. Luckily, the second engine, it doesn't take long to get outside. So the second engine is probably the one where you lose the least amount of time for not getting that trick right. So we're now into another on-rail section. This bit's quite slow and not really a lot to do. Sleepless, if you've got anything, now's another good time.
Yep, we've got a couple of donations. One from Anonymous, £1.50. I believe that went towards day mode, and a £5 donation from Jazzlamp. No message, but that went towards purple for the push challenge car color, and as well the Doom bonus classics levels run. So that's at 15 out of £75 now.
Awesome. Keep those donations coming in, guys. Alright, we're nearly at the end of this auto scroller. I promise. Just gotta dodge these. It's a very weird design for a ship to suddenly have these air vents. Okay, so we're now going towards the third engine, and this is actually the first engine the first time around. This is this room that we're in right now. This is where we started the game when we came here the first time. Use the same little skip there to get past that worm. And the first time we came through here, we did the big skip to skip the engine room. Unfortunately, we don't have the same luxury this time round. We do need to blow it up. Wait for Popka to come back. There we go. And we're through. That room's a little bit tricky. It can cause some problems. This room is also a little scary with the very first bit, but I'm good. I got through. Okay. Let's wait for Popka. There we go. Okay, onwards to engine 3 on this little outdoor section. Oh, that's not where I wanted to throw that boomy. Look, we gotta wait for it to explode anyway, so. There we go. Back inside again. We've got a Laquari here and a door to get through, so we're going to throw it at that one. Going to throw it at that one before it explodes. It's just useful to get that boomy into that position so that we can throw it straight down. Quite precise jump here. And I'm up, that's good. And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to throw that boomy across and hopefully, and I got that right, that was good. So boomies will automatically explode after they've traveled a certain distance. So there, we throw that boomy in at quite a precise position in order to make sure that it explodes in the air, but close enough to that box so that the box will explode. And that's exactly what happens. That was good. We've got the key to get into engine 3. We've hit the checkpoint that we're hopefully going to glitch back to. I'm going to deliberately take some damage from that move going into here. Because, again, like the other two engines, I need to be on 1 health as we throw the boomy in. Take 1 more hit. And hopefully I'm going to spawn outside. Nice! Okay, 2 out of 3 is not bad. I'm happy with that. 2 out of 3 is good. And that is the end of the level. Lovely. All right. So we have shut down the Ark. The Ark is now not going to crash into this weird and wonderful place that we are now going to go into. This is the 5th kingdom. This is the Kingdom of Sorrow. So this was a hidden kingdom that everyone had forgotten about, and this is the kingdom that is responsible for all the sadness in the world, and that's why the whole of Lunatea is feeling this sadness right now, because there's something wrong here in the Kingdom of Sorrow. People have forgotten about sorrow and sadness for so long, and it's, you can't forget about sadness. There have to be sad times. Not everything can be happy and cheerful, and we have to remember that. And that's kind of the lesson that this game is trying to teach us. That it's okay to be sad, it's okay to cry, it's okay to, worry and consider and all of that stuff. Don't forget about sadness, because otherwise it can cause problems, like in this game. Oh, gonna grab a move just to play this safe. There we go. I like that one. You're supposed to jump up those ledges on the left-hand side and grab those flying moves and throw them across at each switch. We can just use Popka to make that jump. This is quite a long level. There's quite a few puzzles in it, but I really think this level does a very good job of being. This is the last traditional platforming level of the game. We've got this level, we've got a slider level, and then we've got the final boss. My game has just paused. This has never happened. That's never happened before. The game just decided to pause, and I couldn't unpause it. I don't understand what happened. That's never ever happened before. That's bizarre. Okay. I don't know if maybe the PlayStation lost input for a second or something and just went, oh, we better pause it. I don't know. It's never. I've been playing this game for 20 years. I've never ever had the game just pause on its own before. That was very strange. Oh dear. I will have to ask the community if that's ever happened to anyone else before. Which that's a good segue to talk about. There is a Klonoa community. If you go to speedrun.com, search for the Klonoa series, you'll find a link to the Discord server. Admittedly, I'm not as active in that Discord server as I really should be. It's mainly because I'm a Metal Gear Solid speedrunner first, so I'm a lot more active with the Metal Gear Solid speedrunning community. But the Klonoa community are really cool. They're a really nice bunch of guys. They play all of the games in the series. There are more than just Klonoa 2. There's a couple of Game Boy Advance games. There's the PlayStation original. There's the Wii remake of the PlayStation original. And yes, they're really good. So yeah, if you're interested in running this or any other game in the Klonoa series, let's say go to speedrun.com, search for Klonoa, and you'll find a link to the Klonoa Klonoa speedrunning Discord. This is a annoying puzzle because if you throw a Laquari just slightly at the wrong time, you have to redo the whole puzzle, and it's very annoying. There we go. That wasn't too bad. We've got another awkward Laquari puzzle here, but through okay. Even with Popka, this one is kind of annoying. It's a very, very tight window to get to that enemy at the top. Then, yet another Laquari puzzle. And we threw that one. That one's the easiest of the three. There is one more skip coming up. It's not a massive skip. It saves about a minute. But as you can see, there's a few auto scroller sections here where we just grab hold of these lums and just sort of travel with them. There's one where we're going to go round in a spiral up a pillar, and we can skip a section of it if we time a jump just at the right time. It was one of the earliest skips I learned, but it can still be tricky. We should now have enough room just to get over to the end now. We've got a couple more rooms to go yet. This level and the music and the feeling and the atmosphere, it all sort of gives you that sense of, come on, just a little bit further. We're almost at the end. We know you're getting tired. My hand's getting tired because I'm having to hold 2 controllers at the same time. But, you know, it's just that sort of almost there. Keep going. Keep going. And it just sums up the game and sums up a speedrun really nicely. This level also throws a new well, not a new enemy, a slightly variated enemy that we've not seen before. This is the first instance of the gold helicopter, which the gold helicopter just lasts a bit longer, so that we can get through a few other areas. Okay, here is the big skip. Well, not big skip, but 1, 2, 3, and we got it. And that saves a really long auto section where we're just holding on to this lum and just waiting to get to the end. Oh, I'm actually hitting the ceiling of these levels in a couple of locations. Just a little bit wary that I've only got 1 health. Oh. There we go, we're through. And we're now into the last room of this level. So we're just going to time a couple of jumps on the jump pads very nicely. And we'll be through. Jump now. Use Popka just to give us that last little boost over. Try to land on the platform and not on the boost pad. All I'm doing, I'm waiting for the whole of the pillar that I'm going to jump onto to appear in frame, and then jump. There we go. And then this is the last one, so I'm just going to jump on it. And on the second bounce, I've got enough space to get over to the end of the level. And that's it. That's the Kingdom of Sorrow. That is the very last traditional platforming level of the run. We've got 1 slider level, and then we have got the final boss. So this slider level is called the Forgotten Path. As I said before, all of the other slider levels in the game are pretty straightforward. They're not too taxing, and they've got some nice music to just sort of chill out and listen to. This one is different. This one has some very narrow pathways. We don't really use Popka in this level to do any skips or tricks or anything. In this level, we have Popka on standby at all times, so that if we fall off the edge, we can quickly recover. Normally I don't end up using him. I've done this level enough times now to know how to get through without him. But sometimes, just, you know, that slight little lapse in concentration, and Popka does come in handy. Not really worried about taking any hits from anything. It's very unlikely that you'll die in this level from of health. It is much more likely that you will die in this level from falling off. And the opening of this level is quite scary, because we now go into this big tunnel section, and we just have to, you know, very carefully make our way through. Whenever you're sliding, if you hold the direction that Klonoa is moving, he will go faster. If you hold the reverse direction, he will slow down. Now, obviously, I want to hold up at all times here because I want to go fast. So it makes some of these turns a little precarious. The more scary thing about this room, though, is you've seen how long we've been in this level already. haven't hit a checkpoint yet. The first checkpoint for this level is brutal. For a casual player playing this for the first time, it's very, very far. That's the first checkpoint. So at any point before that checkpoint, if I died, I'd have had to redo the entire level from start. And it's such a long distance. But we got through it, okay. This is the section. This is actually the final room. It's not a very long level. It's just a bit nasty. It's going to get very tight. And again, I want to hold up as much as I can to go as fast as I can. I really don't want to have to slow down. And it's just this section here is just a little bit tight. And we're good. There we go. Didn't have to use Popka once. Quite pleased with that. And through. So that is the final level. We now have the final boss. Every kingdom has to have a king. So this is the King of Sorrow. Our journey's end. All the way through to the Terminus of Tears. This boss is in two sections. The first section is a slider battle, and the second is a more traditional arena fight. This first bit, there is no explanation in the preceding cutscenes as to what is going on here. That is not the King of Sorrow. I assume this is either a vehicle that he's inside or some sort of security robot. But the preceding cutscene doesn't give you any explanation. It just throws you into here. You meet the King of Sorrow, you have a bit of an exchange with him, and then there's a bright light, and Klonoa wakes up falling into this tunnel. He's been very, very nice, actually. This is... he's putting himself into positions to get hit very, very quickly. Oh, I missed that hit. That's okay. That's okay. One more hit, and we're through to the section. So time is not yet. We're not at time just yet. That's only the first section of this. In the second section, we're going to go into a more traditional circular arena, and there's going to be a bright, brilliant white at the end of phase 1. That is not the end of the fight. I got some good RNG on the things that he's thrown at me. So I have to hit all of these balls, and when all of these balls have been hit, that will end the first phase. And I got it all done in one rotation. That's nice. Okay, so time is coming up. Time will be when I do the same thing again. The final hit, when there's a big bright white light, that is the end of the boss, and that is time. So I'm going to hit these. One. Each of these takes 3 hits. Oh, I don't want to get hit by that. I was a bit unlucky with how that travelled towards me. 2 more. Oh, 2 more hits, but I need to get this. I've only got 1 health as well, so I'm a little bit careful. 1 more hit, and time. Oh, there we go. Done. Vision clear. And there is the King of Sorrow. Throughout the entire game, Klonoa has been hearing this mysterious voice asking for help, and it's only right at the end that he discovers that it was the King of Sorrow all this time asking for help, wanting help, because everyone's forgotten about him and forgotten about sadness, and that's kind of the whole part of the story. But that's it. That is Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. It's a wonderful game. It's so bright and colorful. The music score is absolutely beautiful. And if you ever want to speedrun it, as I said before, head over to speedrun.com, find the Klonoa series and join the Discord server. And it's great.